Hello, fellow educators. Thank you so much for being here today. I am honored to speak with you about the importance of literacy leaders in schools. My name is Vanessa Irizzo, and I'm a veteran teacher of 22 years, having taught in New York, Washington, D.C., Maryland, and North Carolina. I have worked with students from grades kindergarten through 12. I have a bachelor's degree in secondary English, a master's in literacy, and a master's in training and performance improvement. When I started teaching 22 years ago, I was fresh out of college and I was ready to change the world, as we all are, right? And I did in my own right. I had many students who were wildly successful. However, in the 18 years I spent as a secondary English teacher with a master's degree in literacy, I still had students who struggled with reading. I was doing everything that I was taught to do, and some of my students still struggled. I just didn't get it, and it was very frustrating. I implemented research based instructional learning strategies and took advantage of my instructional coaches, who were wonderful and super knowledgeable about instructional practices. But in hindsight, I didn't need an instructional coach. I needed a literacy leader. Instructional coaches can teach you about instructional practices and strategies, but probably have limited knowledge of the science of reading. A literacy leader knows and understands that science inside and out, how the brain acquires written language, and what it means for our students. I was introduced to the science of reading in September of 2019 when I accepted a role as a curriculum consultant, and half of my role was rooted in literacy leadership. So, what is the science of reading? Well, the Reading League defines it as a vast interdisciplinary body of scientifically based research about reading and issues related to reading and writing. The research has been conducted over the last 5 decades across the world, and it is derived from thousands of studies conducted in multiple languages. In 1986, psychologists Philip Goff and William Tunmer gave a simple view of reading, which states that word recognition times language comprehension equals reading comprehension. And then in 2001, to give depth to this simple view of reading, developmental psychologist and reading researcher Hollis Scarborough depicted skilled reading as a rope to show how the individual subskills of word recognition and the individual subskills of language comprehension are intertwined to create skilled reading. The bottom line of the simple view of reading is this: if the students can't get the words off the page, or if they can't understand what they have decoded, then they will never have skilled reading and they will never have reading comprehension. Since these findings are relatively new, I would bet that if you graduated with a literacy degree anytime around 2008 or prior, and I'm being generous, you probably weren't taught the science of reading. But do you know who has been taught the science of reading? Your literacy leader. It's really important to note that our brains were never wired to receive written language. Language acquisition experts Louisa Moats and Carol Tolman provide evidence of this and tell us that we have to create new neurological pathways for written language to become automatic, like oral languages. Repetition of skill is key for those neural pathways to become permanent and automatic in our long-term memory. Once this happens, working memory is now free to focus on other unknowns that we have to learn. Not everyone can acquire language as easily as I did, and probably you did. COVID certainly didn't help. And with the substantial rise in ENL students, it is absolutely all of our jobs to teach reading. Every single person who interacts with students in the classroom should be well versed in the science of reading. And the only way to do this is to have literacy leaders in all schools: primary schools, elementary schools, middle schools, and high schools, to provide the teachers with knowledge and tools to teach reading within any content area. Our students are our future, and they are absolutely worth it. Thank you so much.